Hi, it's Lucy Edson here for Shimmerz Paints. I'm going to share a mixed media technique with you today using tissue paper, scrapbook paper, and some Shimmerz Paints. We're going to create a background layer for some ATCs, or this could be a layout background for a layout. It could be incorporated into almost any mixed media project. It just adds a lot of dimension and texture. So what your supplies would be a piece of scrapbook paper. I use just a pattern paper. It kind of has an all over floral. This is an old piece of sassafras lath paper. I used dressmaker tissue, like it came from a pattern. You could also use just regular tissue paper that's patterned, or you could stamp into it. As long as you use a solvent or permanent ink, it will be fine, because you don't want anything that's going to run with the glue. I would recommend StazOn or a waterproof ink. I generally use StazOn ink for about everything, so that's just kind of my go-to. A decorative stamp. This is just a grid stamp from Tim Holtz. The glue that I use is just a white glue, PVA glue that's watered down, 2 parts glue to 1 part water. This one happens to be plaid decoupage glue that I've added water into the bottle after I used part of it. I also added some transparencies over my little ATCs. These are some of the dress forms from Hambly. And I used some old dictionary pages and just some little phrases. The paint that I'm using, of course, is Shimmerz, and I'm using 2 types of Shimmerz paints today. One is the Shimmerz paint, which is the thinner paint that's very, very glimmery. And then I'm also using some of the blings, which are thicker and have a much heavier glitter, well, not glitter, but heavier iridescence in them. They add a tremendous amount of shine and glitter to any project. The colors I've chosen are Island Salsa, which is a coral, and Flashy Fuchsia, which is, obviously fuchsia. And another color that I use is called Candlelight. Just adds a soft glow. It's kind of a soft yellow. Let's see. I'm going to offer a giveaway with this video. I will be choosing one person from the comments that are left to send them an ATC and a couple colors of Shimmerz Paints. So I hope you enjoy the video, and I'll have step-by-step following this introduction. And let's see. I think that's it. So thanks for listening, and I appreciate you watching the video. Thank you. Okay, I've got the first layers ready to assemble. I'm starting with a background paper, just kind of an all-over pattern. I have dressmaker's tissue and watered down glue. This is like a decoupage glue. I've watered it down to about 2 parts glue to 1 part water, and just an old brush to apply it. I've kind of arranged some of the tissue paper onto the background paper like I would like it to lay. I kind of just want a line going across. I'm going to dip my brush into the glue, and I do want to put some glue underneath, because for the tissue paper to have the transparency. When I'm done, I'm going to put a quick layer of glue down. And then I'm going to start just working the tissue paper in, and once it's down, you're pretty much going to need to leave it as it is. I like it to have some creases and just to meld into the background. So I'm just going to continue to work this and cover the entire piece with glue and let it dry. Then we'll come back to the next step. Okay, here I've got the tissue paper applied to the background, and I've worked out any air bubbles with the brush. I've left it really crumpled. I want the texture on here, because whenever I come back over with some paint, it's going to really add a lot of texture, and it'll stick in the different crevices. So I've got this sitting on freezer paper, and so it won't stick. Then we're going to let this dry, and then I'll come back again and work on the next part. Okay, I'm back with ready to start painting on my project. I've got my piece of scrapbook paper and the layer of dressmaker tissue that I glued down and let that dry overnight. So now it's completely dry, and as you can see, the tissue is very transparent, and I've left a lot of cracks and crevices on this so that it'll pick up the paint. I'm going to be working with 2 Shimmerz Blings colors. I love the blings. They are so thick and rich. The glimmer in them is fabulous. This one is called Flashy Fuchsia and Island Mango. And I've already opened these up and stirred them, so I'm just going to dip my brush in and take it right to my paper and start painting. I'm going to continue to paint, picking up both colors and kind of blending them, and then I'll come back and show you how I'm going to finish this. Okay, I've covered my whole paper with the Flashy Fuchsia and Island Mango blings, and now I've just got actually it's an old coffee filter. I like to reuse things, and I'm going to wipe away some of the excess paint with this. And I'm also using the coffee filter because I will be able to go back and use it on another project, and it will already have a lot of great shine on it. So I'm just going to kind of wipe on this and lift some of the paint so that the cracks show up more. So I'm just going to continue to work this, wiping up part of the paint and allowing the paper to show through more. Okay, now here's my finished piece. I'm going to zoom in and see if I can let you see the color in that. The shine is just really beautiful, and there's a lot of glimmer that's stuck into the cracks of the tissue paper. And I also have this coffee filter left over that's all stained now for another project. I'm going to go and let this dry, and then I'm going to cut this up and make some little projects with it. So here's just an idea for using some Shimmerz basically as a staining product, and but the way the product collects in the cracks of the paper is just really beautiful. To finish up my project, I made some little ATC cards with the finished background that I created with the Shimmerz paper. To finish these up, I started off with a piece of old dictionary book pages that were really pretty fragile, so I coated it with a layer of Candlelight Shimmerz just to add a little bit of sheen, and also it makes the fabric a lot sturdier, or the paper a lot sturdier. I just layered those down on the project with just a little bit of glue, and just stick it down, and then maybe put the other one right here. And then I wanted to layer a little bit of stamping on that. What I've got is Stays On ink, which is a permanent solvent ink. I like it because it can get wet again. I could spritz over it, it still would stay without any blurring. This is a Tim Holtz stamp from his new collection. Just kind of like the grid. So I'm just going to ink that up and stamp that right on my page. And basically I'm just trying to build a little bit of layering and texture. The more dimension, the more layers you add into any kind of mixed media project, the more complex it looks. So it's really very simple. We have the layer of scrapbook paper, then we have the tissue paper, Shimmerz Paints, and then the layered circles, and then the stamping layered over that. So with 5 layers, you quickly put together a really interesting project with a lot of depth. Then I would layer the transparency over the top of this, and the title piece, and then I would take it to the machine and do a little stitching. That's my favorite way to hold down a transparency, is just with stitching, because then you don't have to worry about glue showing, and it'll stay in place really well. I would like to offer to mail out one of these to someone that I finished. If you just leave a comment here after the video, I'll send you a little piece of shimmery goodness in the ATC. Thanks, and this is Lucy Edson for Shimmerz Paints.